Sage Wanderer coming at you from my van down by the river. So I wanted to talk briefly this morning about why I believe that the Democratic Party is falling apart and will soon be a non-issue. Basically, what I believe is going to happen is that a third party is going to emerge, forcing the original Democratic Party into a third party position. So, in other words, there will be a second party that is not the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party will go the way of like the Green Party. They'll be more like a non-issue, like a Libertarians or the Green Party, because the Democratic Party is going so far to the left that they are leaving mainstream America. And this can be witnessed by the walkaway movement. You can go and hear people's individual stories as to why they are walking away from the radically communist Democratic Party, which is just moving so far to the left that it's gone off and left most of its base supporters. And I think that people in the media and leaders of the Democratic National Party believe that they are winning. They think that passion in their base equals a larger base, and they're ignoring the hashtag walkaway movement, calling it some kind of Russian bot scam. And when I did my hashtag walkaway video as to why I walked away from the Democratic Party, they came on to my video, and anytime I comment on a hashtag walkaway video, they always call me Ivan, because they believe with their whole heart that anybody who would walk away from the Democratic Party is a Russian spy. These people are delusional. They've lost their mind on some level, and they do not represent the majority of Democratic voters. This is my belief. All this will be shaken out in the upcoming elections that are going to be happening here in just a few months, just a couple of months. So the Democratic Party is becoming so far to the left as to become a communist or socialist organization. If you don't believe me, look at some of the candidates that they are nominating to represent their party. The lady in New York, the congresswoman, who's soon to be congresswoman in New York, is a far left socialist. That's who they chose to represent them. The man that just won the Democratic National Committee vote in Florida for Florida governor. He's running against DeSantis, who's the Republican candidate. And this guy in Florida is a straight-up communist socialist, man. He's running on open borders. Let's talk about the policies that have become the thing that the Democratic Party is staking everything on. They've got all of their eggs in this one basket of ideas that are so far to the left that most Americans they won't sign off on it if they understand what's going on. And so it's leaving the Democratic Party with only the most radical of left-wing socialists and those people that are asleep at the wheel and don't see that the party has changed. So their little basket of ideas involve open borders. I heard I believe he was running for governor down in Arizona, and he said, imagine in Arizona with no border, with no line of demarcation between the United States and Mexico at all. So they want people to come here, and then they want to give free health care to the illegal immigrants who come here across the open border. They want to offer that, like the mayor of, I believe it's the mayor of Los Angeles, said that he was going to give, that he wanted to give, or maybe he's running for governor down in L.A. I don't know. There's so many people in the soup right now. But he was recently quoted as saying that he wanted to give free health care to all illegal aliens. And, in the state of California. So he believes it won't bankrupt the state. But what happens when you open the border and then you offer freebies is that everybody and his grandma from every third world country south of the United States will flood north across the border to get their free health care. Every sick person and terminally ill person that can't get help in their own country will come here. They're tired, they're weak, and they're sick. They will pour across our borders. And we will have to take care of them. We will have to pay for them because that's the kind of country we are. We don't let people starve to death right in front of us. At least not somebody say something about it at least. I mean, you know, it's not acceptable. It happens, but it's not acceptable. And so, you know, we will take care of them because, you know, at our soul, I think we're a Christian nation, and both sides can agree that we need to help people that need help. So they're going to come here across our border in droves, and we're going to help them, and it's going to destroy the economy of the United States. And anybody who can do basic fourth grade math understands this. Seriously, anybody who paid attention at school at all, who got any kind of education at all, understands the math. That America cannot be the freebie handout center for the world. That it's up to those other countries to take care of their poor and their hungry and their people in need, as we take care of ours. So the Democratic Party is becoming more and more about open borders. This is what's in their basket of ideas. Open borders, free health care for everyone, including people from other countries, and impeach the president. And honestly, that's really all they got. That's really all they have. There are no other issues in their deal. They gloss over the fact that that's going to raise taxes and cause all of us to be enslaved in taking care of all of these people that pour across the borders. Really what they want is total socialist takeover. They want the government from the cradle to the grave taking care of you. And they want you to give up your rights so that they can do that for you. And they don't really offer you any idea about how they're going to pay for it. In other words, communism is the same as it was 50 years ago. The problem with communism, there's not any money in it. Now, could they adopt some form of corporate communism? Absolutely, because corporate communism, as seen in China, is actually kind of working in a very totalitarian and evil sort of way. It's functioning, at least. The behemoth monster, the Frankenstein beast that is the Chinese communist free capitalist system working together is alive and breathing for now. But it is a dysfunctional beast, and I believe quite dangerous. So we could adopt that kind of Chi-Com sort of communism here, but I don't believe that people on the left would want that. Because, you know, gay people don't have much rights in China. Like, nobody has any rights in China. They want to take, you know, people on the left want to take away your rights that suit them, but they don't see that that knife cuts both ways. And when you give into totalitarianism, then everyone's rights. My right to keep and bear arms goes away, but your right to fall in love and marry who you want also can go away in a totalitarian state. And they're like, well, we'll pick and choose. Yeah, until you get rounded up by the Gestapo and you know, rounded up by the KGB and put into a re-education camp because they don't like the way you talk. You know, it's freedom or totalitarianism, and anything that they try to make in the middle never works. But the Democratic Party has become the Communist Party. CNN has become their mouthpiece, and MSNBC their propaganda tool. And I think that they're deluded. I think that the silent majority of Americans, many of them who voted for Barack Obama, many of them who have voted Democrat Party since the 60s or even before, you know, are walking away. And I think that the Democratic Party is ignoring their largest constituency, the moderate Democrats. So how is that going to affect the other parties? As the Democratic Party, we'll see. We'll see. Either America is turning communist and I need to figure out a way to escape it. Costa Rica. Costa Rica? I don't know. You know, there's got to be someplace free left in the world. But either America is turning to a communist country, or the Democratic Party has lost total touch with their more moderate constituents, and those are going to come pouring into the Republican Party, creating a more moderate Republican Party, creating a very powerful, moderate Republican Party. I think that the idea, hang on, my camera's going sideways. I think that the idea that the Republican Party will respond to the left-leaning communist takeover of the Democrats by becoming more right-wing, I think is just action-reaction. But at the same time, where are all those Democrats going? Are they going to another party like I talked about at the beginning of this video? Is a third party of moderate Democrats going to emerge? If so, it will draw from both Republicans who are moderates like myself and Democrats who are not communists, like a lot of Democrats aren't communists. They're going to come to this hashtag walkaway movement is going to come to the middle to either some new party or the Republican Party. it's looking like the Republicans are awake and aware and see that they have a chance of creating a moderate Republican, semi-conservative, or what some people might call a classical liberal party. A classical liberal, like what Alex Jones says, is, I mean, if you think about it, most of us are what would have been concerned classical liberals from the 70s. We believe in God, although we're not super religious. We believe in freedom of speech. We do believe in the Second Amendment. They didn't start gun grabbing till later. Democrats from the 60s and 70s, they didn't believe in gun control. They believed in the Second Amendment. So, this further moving towards the left is something that's been happening since the 1960s to the Democratic Party, and all of the moderates are either hashtag walking away or just straight up switching parties, like a recent governor who in 2016 announced that he was switching parties while still in power as a governor. I forget what state that was at, maybe Virginia. So, at any rate, the Democratic Party is asleep at the wheel. They are losing people by the thousands and blaming it on bots. And it's because they're moving further and further to the left. And they're becoming more and more anti-American. They're becoming more and more racist against anyone who is not a person of color. And they think everything is racist and everyone is a Nazi. And they're embracing Antifa. Apparently CNN has declared Antifa a mostly black organization. Well, their clothes are mostly black, but every Antifa member I ever met was straight up white. Everyone I ever seen was straight up white. And it's something to hear somebody call themselves anti-racist, and yet they'll yell a racial slur at an ICE officer who happens to be African American, and Antifa's white, and somehow they're not the racist, and I am, because I don't want open borders. So I think we all see the madness. The question is, how many people have really lost their minds? How many people have drank the Kool-Aid over there? How many people are going to cross, and walk away from the middle to embrace this far left ideology? And isn't it pushing all of us towards the center, or at least towards the right? And I think the elections that are coming up are going to be evidence of this. We're going to see some straight up, like in Florida, this guy who is a straight up communist socialist is going up against DeSantis, who is a Trump guy. And I think it's going to tell us what's the mandate, what's happened with the people. Are they siding with CNN and this madness, this communist, obviously socialist communist ideology, this open borders, everybody else's rights mean more than American, citizens' rights? Baloney? Is all this pro-jihadist stuff going to stick with the American people? A judge down in Arizona just set 3 people loose who were involved in a terrorist training camp, who had a child's dead body under their compound. They just turned them loose. Oh, they didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, people are losing their ever-loving minds. The question is how many of them, and will we be able to stop them with the vote, with the ballot? And it looks like I'm predicting a red wave. I'm predicting a huge red wave, followed by the restructuring of both parties and potentially the arrival of a third party, and the diminishing of the Democratic Party. It's going to go off into the sunset and become as irrelevant as, I don't know, the Green Party. All right. Well, tell me what you think in the comment section, and God save our republic.